Hey everyone, welcome to Ananyachintanaa. I am Rajesh Lohit. In my previous video, I explained about the different phases of Sade Sat and the houses that needs to be considered. In this video, I will explain the way to analyze the Sade Sati using Astakavarga points, and I will also show you how to predict the events during Sade Sat. Initially, we have to check whether Saturn is acting as a functional benefic or malefic in the natal chart. That is one thing, that is the major thing that needs to be considered. Then we have to check the condition of the Saturn and the moon, like the aspect, the conjunction and all. Later on we need to check the dasha bhukti that's running during the time of sadesat as well. That is also a major thing. And then the nakshatra the Saturn is sitting in. Finally, we need to check how strong the natal chart is, because this is also an important factor while predicting the events. So let me explain these things one by one. So what do I mean by the functional benefic and the functional malefic? So for every ascendant and every moon sign, certain planets acts as functional benefic and certain planets acts as functional malefic. So for this particular chart, Saturn rules fourth and the fifth house. So it's ruling one Kendra and one Trikona. That is one quadrant and one trine. So Saturn for this sign, for this chart, is acting as a functional benefic here. He is the Yogakaraka for this chart. The nature of the results during Sadesat depends on the rising sign and the moon sign. So that's the reason I asked you to check the functional benefic and the malefic planets for that sign, for that particular chart. Similarly, Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, as you all know. And also it's the Yogakaraka planet for Taurus and Libra signs. When Sadesat occurs for these four signs, it is said that the Sadesat might not harm much. The Sadesat might not give much negative results to these signs. Next, we'll have to check the Dasha Bhukti that is running during that time. Why I am asking you to check the Dasha Bhukti is because if Saturn is involved in that Dasha Bhukti, then the intensity of the results will be increased. So to scale the intensity, to measure the intensity of the results, we need to check the Dasha Bhukti as well. So for example, let's take the Dasha Bhukti as Saturn Dasha and Sun sub period, or the Dasha Bhukti as Sun and Saturn sub period. So during these times, we can expect extreme results. We can expect some negative results as well as some extreme results as Saturn is involved there. Then we have to analyze the strength of the Saturn and the moon in the chart. So when analyzing the strength of these planets, we have to consider all the things like the aspect and the conjunction. So it is said that the worst effects of Sadesat are present when the moon occupies Dusthana, that is 6, 8, 12. In the same way, the results are improved when the moon occupies Vrushabha, Tula, Makara and Kumbha. To predict any of the events that might happen in the Sadesat, we need to consider all these things like the dignity of the Saturn, the moon, the if Saturn is the Yogakaraka for that ascendant, and the position of the moon if it is in Dusthana or not. Now coming to the prediction part, with the help of moon sign we can even predict the events that are going to happen. For example, we can predict the body part that's going to be affected depending upon the moon sign. So let's take one example. If the moon sign is Aries, so in the Kalapurusha Kundali, the Aries represents the head, as we all know. So if moon is sitting in Aries in any of the nakshatras, then the Saturn transit through the moon, it can be predicted that it's going to trouble the head. It's not only about the physical injury, it's about the mental imbalance as well. So bad judgment may also be a result of this transit. So in this way we should try to predict. Similarly, we'll take another example. If the sign is Taurus, then some problems to the throat area are indicated. So now we'll try to combine the ascendant as well as the moon sign. Consider this chart. In this chart, the ascendant is Libra and the moon sign is in Virgo. So, according to our calculation, the moon has already occupied Dusthana, which is the 12th house. For this ascendant, the Saturn is the Yogakaraka planet. It rules the 4th and the 5th house. So, if this particular native undergoes the Sade Sat, then it will bring the financial stress, the emotional issues with the family, with disputes, and etc. However, Saturn is the Yogakaraka for this chart, so there won't be much trouble for this native. The troubles will be minimized and the troubles will be temporary. He can easily come out of the trouble. What do I mean by permanent trouble and temporary trouble? So, some people might lose a family member, which is a permanent trouble. For these kind of natives, the results won't be that negative. The results won't be worst. So now we'll try to combine the Lagna, the moon sign, and the Astakavarga score. For the same thing, the Astakavarga that has been provided by the Saturn for the 12th house, that is the first phase of the Sade Sat, is 1. The moon's bindus are 4, and the Sarvastakavarga score is less than 24, so which is below average. So for this Sarvastakavarga score, the average score is 24. 24 to 28 is average. Below 24 is negative. And here the bindus, the maximum score is 8 and the average score is 4, and below 4 it's quite negative. But for Saturn, some experienced astrologers say that 3 is also a good score. But in this case, it's 1, so it's quite negative. While predicting the events, you need to add some more negative results to this particular native. As I told you earlier, the prediction depends on the moon sign and the ascendant. The scripts say that the first Sade Sati is difficult emotionally, and the second one is difficult socially, and the third one is difficult physically. There is no mention of the Sade Sat the fourth time in any of the books. Now I am going to explain a unique way of predicting things with the help of Navamsha chart. For this particular chart, the moon sign is Virgo and and the nakshatra is Hasta nakshatra. For this particular chart, the moon the moon is sitting in Gemini in Navamsha. So we need to consider these three things. Later on, this native enters the Sadesat in the year 2007. As soon as Saturn enters the Leo sign, you can check it here as he has entered the 0 degree. Saturn starts with Aries. So here the moon sign is Gemini in this Navamsha chart. As soon as the Saturn in the Navamsha chart meets the moon located in the Navamsha, that is, in the Navamsha chart, as soon as Saturn enters Gemini, the intensity of the results will be more. So, this happens in all the cycles. So, whenever the Saturn contacts the moon, the intensity of the results will be more, and you can check this as well. This can be said as the critical period for a person. So, considering all these aspects, we can predict some certain events which might happen in the Sadesat. So, these are all the facts that must be considered before predicting any event in the Sadesat. So, if you like my way of explanation, and if you like this video, and if you like the content of the video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you.